Hello everyone. When it comes to making my little backdrop here, it requires making a lot of mess in my room. As you can kind of see, I got stuff everywhere. But no worries, that's all behind the scenes. Let's go in the scene and actually take a look at an area that's cleaner and a lot more slick looking. Today I'm going to be reviewing my 1970s Westinghouse Silverliner, aka OV-15 175 mercury vapor streetlight. This streetlight is very awesome and also has a very special story with it. This streetlight is actually fairly new in condition and has had some use, but this streetlight has been actually out of service for quite a long time, it seems. So I got this streetlight off of Facebook Marketplace. The seller was selling it nearby, and I was actually kind of interested in getting it because something seemed special about it. And one thing I noticed actually when I got it was super clean. We'll see when we go on the inside of this light. But I asked the guy, the streetlight's fairly clean, where'd you get it? He told me it wasn't in service very long and he went ahead and just wanted to get it for the heck of it, but he never used it. So this streetlight apparently was only in service for probably about 10 years and it's just been sitting in storage for a really long time. And what's really cool about it is it's in almost brand new condition and it has its original photocell here, and it actually has its original Westinghouse lamp that it was lamped with, I think. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So knowing all that, this should be a really fun streetlight to look at. And a little bit of a history lesson for you guys on these. These, like I said, were made in the 70s. And Westinghouse came out with their set of OV lines somewhere around in the late 50s. They started with the remote ballast fixture, the OV-10, that also had an integral ballast version, which I actually have a video of on my channel, so if you want to go check that out, I'll go ahead and put that down in the description below if you guys want to check out that video. But for at least for the sake of this video, from the OV-10 then actually came the OV-12, and then sometime during the 60s I think they switched over to this light. But this light was made throughout, I guess, the late 60s. It's kind of not clearly known, but from the late 60s throughout the 70s. And then the OV-15 had a redesign right around when Kraus-Heinz was starting to take over. These 1970s Westinghouse Silverliners are really cool, and they're nicknamed Silverliners for their really long streamlined design. And I really do like this design. These are actually quite liked by a lot of streetlight fans because of the decent quality and the streamlined look. And as you can see, it is very clean in its design. And when I did get this, the paint was actually already worn off it, so that's definitely shows that it was in service. But since this streetlight was already in really good shape, I thought it was worth giving it a whole new repaint. I went ahead and chose a hammered silver, just like the original ones would. However, I'm not completely satisfied with its current hammered silver finished design, as it's not as hammered as I'd like it to be. But at least for the sake of this video, it looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, let's go ahead. I'm gonna bring the camera up here. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at it. Like I said, it's very nice and streamlined. The concept of this design is very clever and very nice. It is a very, like I said, streamlined, very clean light. Now, Westinghouse is a little odd with their finishings. Now, they do have some pretty smooth finishes, but if you ever get one of these and see it with the paint worn off, you'll actually notice there's a lot of blemishes in it. And I actually left those blemishes there, but you can kind of see some scratches up here. That's actually part of the mold. If you go over here, you can also see a big seam here. You can see some spots that look kind of bubbly. Those are all spots from the actual mold itself, and actually, this one has like a little dent look in it, and that definitely I checked. The reason why that's actually there is because one of the parts where the mold goes in for the bracketing, it actually sinks in right there, so I don't know why that did that. Even though there's some rough finishes, at least the edges are nice and soft, so I'll go ahead and let all those little bits slide just because the rest of the finish is pretty nice. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off real quick and show you it before we flip the light on its back. This is, like I said, the original photocell, and it works. And of course, if we look at the date codes on the back here, if I can flip it the right way, yeah, you can see the date codes are from 65 to 76. So definitely a 1970s photocell. And like I said, it does work, and these types of photocells are super hard to find this old, so I'm really happy to have a vintage photocell. There's a big 3 on it, so I'm assuming that this photocell and this light were probably made around 1973. So yeah, this is a Fisher Pierce photocell, and it actually says it's made in Canada, so really cool. This was definitely a little bit faded too when I got it, so I went ahead and took it apart, and I got the clear thing out, and I actually gave this a brand new fresh coat of paint. And it originally was kind of like a light gray, but I went ahead and gave it a nice clean tan, and I really think it looks good on this light. The only problem I did have, and there's some slightly rough areas right here, this photocell was actually already damaged when I got it, and I don't know how it got damaged, but I went ahead and patched back up the edge here as good as I could with some JB Weld and sanded it down, and looks good. So yeah, really awesome to have the original photocell to this light, so pretty cool. And let me take a look right here. Westinghouse's photocell sockets have pretty much stayed consistent, especially now. Even the Cooper lighting photocell sockets, whatever you call the brand now, their photocell sockets are still the same. All you got to do is undo these 2 screws here to loosen this outer ring, and then you can put a flathead screwdriver in there, and you can actually turn this. Of course, the north is where you want, your photo eye opening to face. So all you do is put a screwdriver in there, turn it to where you want it, and then you take your flathead screwdriver, and once you got it in position, you can screw those back down, and it'll hold that in position. So that is actually a nice design, and I do like that. Let me go ahead now and see if I can kind of push this light on its back, and let's go ahead and take a look at the outside of the door. So you can see the nice hinge on the back. Everything unscrews pretty well. There are a lot of flathead screws on Westinghouse's streetlights. I will say I'm not a fan of this because I've taken some of these apart before, and they are very prone to stripping out, especially if they're corroded and stuck, and when you try to force them, they're hard to get off. However, these ones are totally fine since the streetlight's fresh and new still, so I'm not worried about it on this light, but just something I'm not a huge fan of. But even though they're using kind of junky screws, I do at least appreciate that the stuff screws in, because this hinge right here actually can come apart. So you can, I guess if you want to restore, your light, you can get it off and you can clean and paint it without getting any paint on that. So I really appreciate that. It's like that. Of course, you can see some of those rough finishes again. Like I said, I left those. That is actually my fault. I don't know how that happened. I will have to fix that again. But all these other ones you see are definitely part of the light. But of course, that can be overlooked because right here you got a lovely Westinghouse logo. That is their 1970s style Westinghouse logo. And as you can see right here, even with this repaint I did, it turned out really nice. You can still see the clear, crisp mold. It has absorbed the brand new paint I put on this light very well, and it is nice. So yeah, really awesome little detail. And first, coming up here, you can see the lovely refractor here. And you got your hinge right here. And overall, yeah, that nice streamlined design. So, yep, I really love this streetlight for its design. Let's go ahead now and open it up and see what the insides of this one have to offer. Alright, to open the light, it's pretty standard, just like almost every other streetlight out there. This latch right here pretty much kind of holds itself over the front of the light. There's kind of a hook, so it actually hooks onto the outside, but to open it, you just pull it back, kind of snaps off a little bit, and then you lift your door down. Now this hinge on the back, sometimes can either slip off easily or not slip off easily. However, sometimes it'll get stuck, so all you gotta do is bang it a little bit and it should come off. But luckily mine is in good shape, so my door comes off pretty easily. So yeah, we got that door off, so let's go ahead and look at the door. Here is the inside of the door. There's not a lot going on inside here. This is actually a separate steel bar that they kind of pushed in here for that hinge connection. The only real thing that's in this door is your thing here to undo your refractor, and under that you can see a little hole. That is your drip point for water to drip out, just in case you ever have any moisture or anything that builds up in this light. So pretty nice. And holding your lens on the front, you got two little metal tabs that are screwed down that keeps that in. And then to get it out, you just take this tab. Surprisingly, mine's actually sticky. There we go. All you gotta do is undo that, and then it should slide right out like that, and voila. Here is the glass refractor. So for a lot of you streetlight fanatics that are younger out there, I'm sure you know about the Cooper OVX and the higher wattage OVZs. They actually use the same exact lens design. However, this is the original Westinghouse version. The newer ones don't have any of the logoing or any of the numbering on them. They're just standard Hall of Fame glass lenses. However, this one, other than having the logoing and stuff on it, I think the refractor pattern is slightly different. But pretty much this is still the same lens. As you can see, it is pretty detailed, and of course Hall of Fame has that nice two-way pattern on the back that they seem to put on all of their lenses. You can see the lovely Westinghouse logo on the front here embossed, and you can see it clearly says two-way. Got two arrows going each way, and then it says two-way right below it. Really nice. This is a very clean mold lens. The glass is clear. You can see right through it. Of course, you can see my fingers. Look at that. Really high quality lens. There's no air bubbles, no little seams showing, no rough edges. Very high quality lens. This might upset some of the younger fans, but the lenses they put on the Cooper OVXs and OVZs on some of their newer lights, they're very cheap and very shitty. I've seen them, and I have a couple OVXs, and the glass lenses are just, especially the ones on the mercury vapor lights, they break down. They like erode on themselves. They're very, very cheap, and they fall apart basically upon themselves. These older ones are not like that, and they're able to handle the mercury vapor light a lot better. So I really like these ones better than the newer ones that they made later on. Like I said, they're just such low quality, poor crappy lenses. But Westinghouse definitely did a nice job at making this fresh. And honestly, this lens is probably really nice anyways, since it's not really had that much life out in service. So I could just be a little bit biased about the quality on this right now, but really awesome. I'm gonna go ahead actually and pick it up again. We can look at the readings on the side here. You can see it says Hall of Fame. You got some numbers here, some pat numbers. Here's something interesting. 1963. Now that is a patent number. Now I don't know if this OV-15 is that old. I will say that these lenses probably were beginning to be made around that time, like I said, when they were starting to be made in the 60s. So that could be when these were first made. Let's see, go on the other side here. Sorry about that camera bump. You can see it says Westinghouse style, and then it has the number. So pretty cool. And then I think that's really it. Yeah, the only other thing I see on here is a little number 1. I don't know what that means at all, but there's nothing on here that says like street side or anything. Not like you could flip this the wrong way. But yeah, awesome lens. I love it so much. Okay, with those two things out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the fixture itself. Let's start in the back here. Like I said, this I'm not a huge fan of the screws, but I do like that it is at least screwed on this hinge piece right here, so you can take that apart and clean it separately. One thing that will happen, if these are not bent forward or backward enough, the light won't shut properly, so I've seen some of these Westinghouses where they won't close because it's being pushed forward, so do be careful of that. Mine is a little crooked, but I can fix that some other time. The slip fitter bolts on this Westinghouse are extremely nice. You got some lovely brass, stainless brass bolts here that stick out of the fixture, some threads. Got these wonderful lug nuts and some washers. And I think this is just a cast aluminum. I don't think that's like steel or anything, but it's still very high quality. One thing that Westinghouse did during this era of the OV-15 is they added these really nice, very clean ceramic terminals. And I say they're clean not just because it's this one's obviously brand new, but they're very big and there's lots of space between everything, so it's easy to work with. And I really love that. You can see the stickers on the side here. A lot of these Westinghouses usually never have these aluminum stickers in this good a shape, but luckily mine does. So I'm really proud to see that I can easily look at this diagram and easily figure out what the wiring is in here, and make so just to check if it's wired correctly. So I'm very happy about that. Definitely some nice clear instructions they put on right there. Of course, we got our lovely label sticker. You can see the nice Westinghouse name on the top left corner and the lovely round Westinghouse logo on the top right. The volts on this one are 120, and of course we got our wattage as 175 here. And there's some other numbers. You can see it's a high reactance. So what that means is this is a constant wattage ballast. What makes this one very nice is since it's capacitor free, is there's enough coils on this transformer to get this lamp going perfectly fine and to ignite. And since there's no capacitor and constant wattage constant voltage going to it, that means that this lamp will run as efficiently as it possibly can. So these are very, very good ballasts to have. Any light with a capacitor in it that's at this low of a wattage usually won't last long, but I'm happy to see that this one is is a reactor ballast and capacitor free. So, and if we actually look closely at this transformer, you can see it's a pretty high quality little transformer we got here, and there's also a sticker for that too. So pretty much labels what type of lamp it's for and its input voltage, and it is of course a 120 only. I will say in my past videos, all the ones I've gotten have had 240 volt reactor ballasts, and this is pretty much one of the first lights I've ever gotten like this with a 120, so this will be an easy hookup for me, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, so we've gone over those, the sockets, and all your wiring here basically just goes into your socket and it does its little mercury vapor thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at that socket here. Very high quality ceramic socket they got, and it's very long, as you can see going into the light. Adjustment is, you got some room for adjustment, I guess. You undo this little strap here, which is actually kind of a unique feature. I think the only streetlight I've ever known that had this type of thing in it. You undo this little strap here, and it makes this pivot forward, backward, or you can twist it, which won't really affect anything. But yeah, there's a screw on this side. I think you can pivot it up and down in a couple spots. Yeah, there's really only 3 positions you can put it in, but yeah, I guess you can get a little bit of a different type of light distribution. I'm not really a huge fan of adjusting the socket. I think it should be fixed in one spot, but at least for someone out there, there is quite a bit of room for adjustment, especially forward and back. So yeah, that's how that works. Going up here into the reflector, you can see our lovely lamp. It is unfortunately not a clear merc, but it is an older one. Let's go ahead and take that out so we can get this reflector out of here. And we will take a look at this before we start. Let's see, that's upside down. If you look here, you can kind of see that Westinghouse sticker. It's a little faded, of course, because that mercury vapor does eliminate the print from its UV light. But you can see it definitely says 175 on it, mercury vapor lamp. And I love that it specifically says mercury vapor lamp in big words, so you know that no other type of lamp goes in this. So yeah. And they definitely made these in HPS during the time these were out, because actually HPS was just coming out. So this was available in HPS 2, and I'm sure the HPS versions would, I'm sure it would say that on those stickers. So yeah, pretty nice. To get your reflector out here, I think it's just, all you got to do is this little, you can see this little flat piece of metal here. It kind of bends in and pushes itself into a little slot on the front of this hinge. So all you got to do is pull that back and release that, and your reflector should come right out. If I can get it to slide, there we go. Yep, just slides right out like that. Put that aside there. You got a nice felt gasket to keep the inside of that socket insulated from outside the reflector. And here is our latch here. The spring in this one's a little weak, but it does work. This latch is pretty big and pretty thick. Like I said, this one, instead of having a clip, the hook inside the refractor door, it actually hooks over and outside the door. As you can see, if I can flip that, there's like a notch right there. So this definitely makes for a very tight lockdown, so I really like that. And it is pretty empty under the reflector, but let's go ahead and take a look at our reflector. Now, one thing I will say, as usual, this is just a pressed aluminum reflector. It is pretty new, so we can actually look at its real high quality. It is pretty good in quality, I'd say. These edges here are finished pretty well. The Cooper versions are very rough and finished, and I don't know if you've seen my New York City video, but I actually got cut on my New York City OVZ's reflector, which wasn't very good. But luckily you don't have to worry about that. This one isn't sharp at all. One thing I don't like, though, and I do kind of like, is the gasket here. Now, these rubber gaskets are super nice. However, these light gray ones are the ones that seem to be prone to cracking and getting brittle as time goes on, and they just fall out, and then there's no gasket left. The black rubber ones usually do a wonderful job at lasting forever, as well as the felt ones, which they probably were putting in during this time, as well as an option. However, since this one hasn't had a long life, this gasket is actually still fine, so I'm glad to see that. But at least for, in terms of being in service, this would not last a long time. There's definitely a nice reflector pattern in here. The newer Cooper OVZs are a lot flatter on the bottom. You can see it's kind of split in the middle here, and you can see two reflections on my fingers, so each side will reflect that light back down very nicely. So really cool. And yeah, that's really all that's going on with that. So now that we've taken a look at everything here, let's go ahead and put it back together and take a look at our Westinghouse lamp. Alright, here is our Westinghouse lamp. If it'll focus here, you can actually see the etch on the top. Actually, it's upside down. There we go. You can see it says Westinghouse 175 H39, and it looks like it says 52 right there. I'm pretty sure this wasn't made in 1952, because that does look like a date code. It is fairly new. I don't really know where else you can see the date code. 32, I see up in there. Sometimes you got date codes in the lamp socket itself, but I don't really know how to read them. They're specific date codes, but this is definitely a new old stock style, almost new old stock Westinghouse. I think this is a Westinghouse Lifeguard, they're called, because it has that dome shape on the top style lamp. And if we look inside at the arc tube, it actually has had some use. You can see some blacking there, but you can still see that little the arc coil right at the end. So it definitely goes to show it has had little hours. So I'm very happy to have a Westinghouse bulb for it. So really cool. let's go ahead and get this thing hooked up and we will watch it fire up. Alrighty, the Westinghouse is hooked up. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in just a slight bit so we can see a little better. I'm going to go ahead and turn some lights off. The photocell is not sensitive enough, unfortunately, to stay off with normal room light. It is nighttime here too now, so definitely not going to work. But let's go ahead and shut the blinds and make it pitch black in this room. So yeah, let's do this. Alright. Plug ready, and we can plug it in. This is my 1970s Westinghouse OV-15 Silverliner, 175 mercury vapor in 1, 2, 3. There we go. Ugh, my sister is watching a dumb movie. I will say though, even though you can hear some kind of annoying background noise, this light is extremely quiet. And that's probably because this light is in very good condition, so the transformer hasn't had any real time to wear out or anything. But yeah, a nice quiet light. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I can barely hear it. So yeah, it's very quiet. I mean, go up to it and listen. Yeah, it is very quiet. I love nice quiet lamps. Sometimes it's better than hearing a buzzing noise. But anyway, let's go ahead and let this thing warm up. Alright, the Streetlight is now at full brightness. It really doesn't take long for these brand new mercury vapor lamps to turn on. And it is still quiet, which I really appreciate. So let's go ahead and bring it up here towards the camera. You can see the lovely mercury vapor color. You can see the lovely lens. Whew, it's very bright. You can see the lovely lens in the mercury vapor color and that lovely sine wave that picks up on the camera. Go ahead and look at the logo here. Whew. I really love that. It's very cool looking. Where's that little number 1 at? I want to look at that. I can't look directly at the... Oh, there it is. Yep. Here's that little number 1. And yeah. You can look at the little design details. There's that nice two-way back pattern on the side and the front again. I'll go ahead and face it towards all of my other stuff on my little backdrop I made. You can see my traffic signal and hanging luminary there and my Durasig. Really awesome. Very, very bright light. You can see that little Westinghouse logo. So yeah, not too much to look at, but it is very pleasant. So yeah, I really love this light. And since it's on a 120 mercury vapor reactor ballast, it's definitely running at its full capabilities. So really awesome to see that. So yeah. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn some lights on, kind of to see what this photocell does. I'm pretty sure it won't shut off, but we'll try, I guess. No, it didn't shut off, so I think to get it to really shut off, let's go ahead and get my phone out here and turn on my flashlight. There we go. You can see how lovely photocell works very, very well. Alright, that was my 175 watt mercury vapor Westinghouse Silverliner OV-15. I'm very happy to have reviewed this light with you guys, and even though these are pretty common, they are definitely some very nice lights and definitely worth getting. I'd say these are fan favorite lights amongst collectors. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more videos, and leave a comment down below and tell me what you guys think about these lights. So yeah, anyway, I wish you guys a good day and happy collecting. Goodbye.